And welcome, 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 welcome. And like I always say, if you're looking at my face, and if you're looking at Matt None the Wiser's face, you know it's time to get your game face on. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt None the Wiser Wise. We do this on Mondays in the evening time. But before I get started, Matt, you know me, I got to go to the questions.
Let's do it.
So if you're trying to figure out what type of pattern that you're going to use on that embroidery project that you started, you're on the wrong podcast. And if you're trying to figure out how to shake up a martini so that the flavor comes out exactly correct, you're on the wrong podcast. However, if you're looking for insight in the sports in the San Francisco Bay Area, you just put your game face on. And if you're trying to get insight in sports on a national level, once again, you put your game face on. I'll say this once, I'll say it again. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt None the Wiser Wise. Matt, what do we got?
The Niners are fighting and clawing and battling their way back into playoff contention. That's what went down this weekend. Jimmy Garoppolo, another well-managed performance, well-managed game. That running game is ferocious. You got the Dubs pulling out a victory against the Clippers. And here's the thing. Don't piss off Steph Curry. Like, I remember back in the days, there was like dudes that you just didn't want to piss off. You know what I mean? Don't
Michael
piss
Jordan.
off Michael Jordan.
Right.
You know, don't piss off Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
You know, when he's guarding you, like when back in the day when he was on the Niners. Like, don't piss certain guys off.
Yeah.
And Steph is one of those guys. Don't upset him because he's going to hurt you, and he's going to hurt you bad.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, he really, that fourth quarter performance was just amazing. And really the, igniting of his fire, if you will, because that's exactly what happened. I was listening to an interview today with Bruce. Oh my goodness, here I go. My memory's messing with me again. I can't think of his last name, but anyway, he's assistant coach for the Golden State Warriors, and they said that he said that a lot of times people look at Steph and they just see his really soft baby blue eyes and the really timid skin and everything. He said, but that guy is super competitive.
He's a silent assassin.
Yeah,
he's a killer. He's a silent assassin.
Silent assassin, babyface assassin. You call it that. That's what he is. But he said that if you push that guy, okay, he said you're going to see a side of him that is just like a ravenous dog. He just all of a sudden brings this other look out of him, and you're just going, oh man, that's not the look I recognize. That don't look like Steph Curry right now. That looks like the guy that's gonna come in here and beat me up and take my lunch. Okay.
Just a man on a mission, a man on fire, a man possessed. And they have back-to-back games ending out this month against the 17-3 Phoenix Suns. So the 18-2 Warriors going against the 17-3 Phoenix Suns. And they're going back-to-back. Phoenix is favored, I think, 3.5 for tomorrow night's game. If you're going to put money, go put your money on the Warriors. Do not mess with Steph. Do not play with this man. Do not play with his feelings, his emotions, his money. None of it, because he'll take you to the cleaners. And if you want to make some money, I'm telling you right now, go over to Bet Online, put your money down on Steph the next 2 nights. Just double down. The next 2 nights. Listen, I'm not giving you financial advice. Do this at your own risk, at your own peril. But I may do it. I may go down and put a little money on the Warriors coming up against the Phoenix Suns, because this is going to be must-see TV. And Bet Online is back and better than ever. They have that new web interface we keep hearing about. And it's cracking for the rest of the NBA season. They have more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online should remain your number one spot for all your basketball and football action this season. I encourage you, head to their new, updated, and mobile website to sign up today and receive 50% welcome bonus. 50%. That's no joke right there on your first deposit. 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code. Write this down. Get a pen and paper right now. BLEAV 50, and you will receive your 50% bonus. Bet online. It's the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports. Bet online. It's where the game starts.
Well, there you have it. Like you said, if you think you got what it takes and you can make the right picks and you got enough money to spare, then hey, go to Bet Online. I always say this. I'll say it 1,000 times. Man, I just can't do it. Okay, because I got a wife, I got kids, and not only that, I'm just not a gambler. Never been really. But back to what you were talking about in Steph, and one of the things that was discussed today was the fact that when the game was over, Clay was seen, on the bench. And this was at a point where pretty much everybody had pretty much left the arena, just about. And he was sitting there with a towel on his head, with his head hanging down. And everybody's trying to figure out, what's going on with him. Why is he, kind of looking in the doldrums? But, nobody really knows the actual answer because, we don't know what's between his two ears, what he's thinking about. But I would imagine that he's just at a point right now where he just wants to get back. He's seeing the success the team's having. Obviously, he wants to contribute. And, he saw Steph do what he did last night. And, yeah, I think he just wants to be out there.
I don't know. I didn't see it. I'm not sure, what's going on in his head. What I can tell you, that man's getting ready to get locked in. He is locking in. Maybe that's what it is this laser focus that it takes to be Klay Thompson. But he's getting locked in. And the Warriors, I was just reading, they designated him to go down to the G League, him and Wiseman, so that they can get some more run, they can get some more reps, some more practice, so they can feel more confident. Because when you're in the full swing of the NBA season, you got one night off, you're not doing a ton of practicing. These guys aren't doing a ton of practicing. Like, this is the upper echelon, the elite players. They're not putting in double days of practices right now in season. So it's good. Let Clay go down, let Wiseman go down, let them work their way back into shape. Target, everybody's saying December 20th, I think, for Clay's return. I'm gonna go out on a limb, man, and I'm gonna say be ready to possibly see Klay Thompson December 8th.
Wow.
Against the Portland Trailblazers.
That's pretty quick, man. I anticipate him coming back that fast, but I mean, anything's possible.
Anything is possible. He's going down to the G League. He's going to get some good practice and some good work in. And let's see where he's at. I realize that's like a week or so away, but it's either that or December 20th. So you get an early Christmas present, but I can't wait, man. I'm stoked because the team that they've put around him, the team that they have multiple scorers. You talk about, Steph can get you buckets. Andrew Wiggins can get you buckets. Jordan Poole can get you buckets. Gary Payton II can get you buckets if you need it.
Hey, man, I tell you something,
Chioza's going to get you buckets.
Yeah.
Porter's going to hit a couple buckets. Draymond's actually looking more aggressive this year than I've seen him in past years. And his points you're starting to see increase.
Well, the thing about Draymond, he's definitely in better shape than he was last year. No question about that. I mean, because he's
out there bulldogging folks.
Yeah. And he's running the floor. He's commanding the direction of where the play develops. I also see him undermining guys in the outside and inside the post. Okay. One thing about this team, I think that everybody is really just kind of jacked about, is that we know what happened last season. And you still thought, okay, even if Poole does do what he needs to do, which is to be a support player, you still only have so many pieces. And yet you're talking about GP2. You're talking about Otto Porter Jr. You're talking about JTA. Probably you should be talking because JTA's been there for a little while. But I'm talking about the supporting cast they put together are guys who've not been there. You know what I mean? And it's like all of a sudden these guys are gelling so fast. You're just going, well, man, usually a team like that, when you got new acquisitions like that, it usually takes somewhere between 30, 40 games before you start to see the gel. But this is happening so quickly.
Now you got you got a crafty veterans. I mean, I think this is exactly what Dre and Draymond and Steph were talking about when they said, we got some good pieces, we got some good young guys. We need some veterans, we need some experience. We need some of those guys. You got guys like, we didn't even mention Bielitsa, man. Bielitsa is putting in some good
Bielitsa.
And we haven't seen much of Andre Iguodala in the last week or so because he's been injured, and they're still playing phenomenal defense. So this team is really, really exciting right now. Steph's always exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna say that week after week, but this team's really, really exciting, and it's only going to get better.
Well, this is the thing. If you remember, at the beginning of the season, we not only had you and I trying to figure out where this team could be, but some of our local radio stations, they had their view of what they thought was going to be. I called into the local station today and I spoke to the great Matt Steinmetz, and I told him, I says, if you remember, I called in at the beginning of the season and I told you, I thought this team would be at least in the top 4. Okay. And Steinmetz, you had them at 8 or 9 or 8. Then he goes, yeah, Rich, I remember. He said, I remember you said that. He admitted it over the air. He said, yeah, Rich, I remember you said that. He goes, and you know what? He goes, Rich, yeah. He goes, you picked it. And I just told him, I says, I just saw something. I really did. And when they first came together, I thought, okay, you know what? This could get real interesting. Okay. Because you got an emerging Jordan Poole. You have a third piece. Okay. Yeah. And with that third piece, that's all you need, really. When you have the big 3, that's all you need.
No, Jordan Poole has definitely been a huge gift to the Golden State Warriors this year. And you know what? I wonder, Richard, like how many of you, if you're like me, you wonder, man, what's a good gift to give someone this time of year? What's a good gift? Do you give them a courtside tickets to the Warriors game? Do you do 50-yard line seats to the Niners game? Well, if you're a guy like me and you are out of options, I got one option for you. It's called lightboxjewelry.com. They use cutting edge technology and innovative techniques. They've actually cracked the science of sparkle. That's what they say. They're creating the highest quality lab grown diamonds you can find. And if you're a man like me that's trying to bling up my wife, I'm trying to do it on a budget. I want the best that man can make. I don't want what's come out of the earth. I want what can man make? What's the best that man can make? And they can make you a dazzling diamond for a low price of $800 per carat. They have the same chemical makeup and as natural diamonds. You wouldn't know the difference. Nobody would know the difference. A diamond's a diamond. I'm going to get one for my wife. I'm going to give it to her. She's not going to know the difference that it was an $800 diamond and not a $18,000 diamond. But I'm going to do it over. I might do it. I don't know. Money's a little tight. $800 is a lot of money. But if you got $800 to blow, if you haven't lost it all on betonline.ag, then go over and visit lightboxjewelry.com to add a little bit of sparkle to your holiday shopping. That's lightboxjewelry.com. Lightbox diamonds, never a dull moment. I'm telling you, Richard.
Okay. All right.
Jordan Poole has been a gift to the Warriors.
Yeah.
That may be a gift to our listeners. They may be all over that.
Well, I'll tell you something. I want to switch gears back to where we started with the 49ers. And the reason we is because I love the win. I thought it was a must win for really to just be in the conversation of the season. Okay. And that's what they did. They pulled out a win and now they are in the conversation. And not only that, when you get a win like that, that sends a message to the NFC West. Okay. Because the NFC West is watching this and they're going, okay, you know what? the 49ers, they're not done, okay? And we may have to pay these guys again, okay? But the other thing I noticed too is that, I mean, I last couple of games, I noticed they went ahead with the run and they ran Deebo Samuel. And I said last week, I said that, I really don't think that's a wise idea. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand he can run the football and I understand he's fast. I know he's a big guy, but his specialty is catching the football. And the problem I have with Kyle Shanahan running him, and don't get me wrong, Kyle Shanahan loves to run the football, but it's like you don't take your best player, because right now Deebo Samuel is his best player. You don't take your best player, pull him out of his element, put him in an element just because you want to do something. Now you got a situation where Deebo's hurt. Okay. Now, mind you, it's not a bad, injury, but I think the message should have been sent to Kyle when this happens. Like, hey, dude, don't have him run plays. Have him go run out there and go get it. That's what he does. Okay.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were riding Shanahan going, man, he's got to switch up his offense. He's got to do something. He's got to get creative. He has to do something to get yards, to get yards, because the dink and dunk stuff wasn't working. The run game was getting stuffed up. And so we were complaining, like, he's got to figure it out. And our solution at the time was, if I'm correct, was air it out, throw it deep.
Yeah.
Go downfield.
Right.
Threaten the defense, right? Stretch the defense out. Nah, man. Kyle Shanahan, he's listening to us going, jokers. I'm going to get the ball in the hands of my playmaker. Right. I'm going to do that. But I'm going to do it in creative ways that they're not expecting. And Deebo Samuels in the last 2 games has looked ridiculous at whatever he was doing, whether he was running it or whether he was catching it. And you know what? I mean, scoring all these touchdowns from the 20-yard line, that's huge. That's huge. That's your red zone. That's red zone money. And you're not having your offense have to play on a small field. You're scoring from 20 yards out. Like,
okay, but
it's pretty creative, man. I mean, it may not be what we wanted.
But see, this is the problem I have. It may be creative. And yes, it did work, but the creation itself is not the only thing that made it work. That made it work is because you have a very, very skilled player in Deebo. So my whole deal, that what I'm getting at is this, is that yes, you gave him the ball. Yes, you ran it. Yes, he scored. Okay, but at what cost? You see what I mean? What if you do this again and there's a serious injury and now all of a sudden he's out for the season?
So it's Shanahan's fault that Deebo Samuels ran wild, that he ran out of his groin because he ran for so many yards.
I'm just saying that, and I get what you're saying, because he can do the same thing if he's receiving the football.
He could have a 200-yard receiving game.
Yeah, but what I am saying is this: if you keep him in his element, I feel like he's going to be more of a weapon to you. Okay, I feel like he's going to be able to do things that, I mean, and don't get me wrong, because Ayuk had a big game. He did. He had a big game. He did.
3 receptions, 93 yards. I think he had.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game. But I'm saying right now, they're keying in on George Kittle. Okay, every game they're keying in on him because they know what he can do. It's almost like they've taken away the third option on the pass. And so, although there is lately the emergence of Juwan Jennings, I noticed that. That was interesting. I like that. That was pretty interesting. And he can catch, the 7 to 8 yard ball, and he can do the red zone catch because he did it. So if you're going to do that, then go with Ayuk, go with Deebo, and then go with Jennings. Okay, and bring Kittle as your tight end. Now, I understand what's going on. There's a running back drought right now. I get that. But it may be time for you to go get another running back, because I got a problem with you sending our best player out to do a job where the injury percentage prone is extremely high. That's the reason why you don't have a lot of running backs, because they're getting injured trying to run the football.
He had 6 rushes. He was running at 11 yard average per rush.
Well, no,
So,
listen, Debo is
and
a
he had
football player.
and he had 2 touchdowns doing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Debo is
those it's not like you ran him 20, 30 times a game. You gave him 6 touches in the backfield, right? So, I mean, you talk about trying to be creative with your run game, also be creative and getting your playmakers involved. You just all you gave him was 6 touches, and you threw to him once, right? Now he did have 4 targets, so I mean they were looking his way. They threw to him once, but you're getting the ball in the hands of your playmakers, and if you're a coach that is unsure if your quarterback is a playmaker, but you need to get the ball in the hands of your playmaker that happens to be a wide receiver, why not just turn around and hand it to him and let him be? Because Debo is doing what Debo is good at, is he is running after he's good run after the catch. And that has some of the
talking
same.
about the yak.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, and so, you give him the ball and now you give him open space with blockers in front of him, and you don't have to worry about trying to throw it to him or get it to him. It's 6 touches. If it was like 10, 15 touches out of the backfield, but I mean, they use it as a disguise too. Sometimes he gets in the backfield, which leaves the wide receivers open. And we see some of the IU getting some of the benefits of that and some of the touches that Debo may have been getting if he was in a normal wide receiver position. I like it, man, because Shanahan had to get creative. The offense looked stale. It looked funky. And it quite honestly, it wasn't working. And, proofs in the pudding. Last 3 games have been W's.
Well, I'll tell you something. You look at the game against Jacksonville, okay? Jimmy Garoppolo had 126.3 passer rating. The game versus the Rams, 141.7 passer rating. The game versus Arizona, and they lost that game. He still was over 100.6. Same with Chicago, okay? And obviously the INTs drop your passing rating, okay? But I'm saying my biggest problem I have is that you're going to go up against an opponent and they know what your strength is. One of the things Belichick always says, I'm going to try and take away what you do well, okay? And so they run into this team that does that. Then where does that leave you? Okay, because if they take away the run game, now you got to rely on a person that you really don't have a lot of faith in. And that's not good for Jimmy Garoppolo's psyche. I'm saying all good coaches know you got to have a balance. You can't be one-dimensional, especially in the NFL, because eventually teams figure you out. And then when they do, now all of a sudden, guess what? You can roll up your game plan, because you can't execute a new game plan right in the middle of a game. That's not going to work. Okay, so my whole deal is this. I just think Kyle is a little overconfident with the running game. I think he needs to bring some passing in there. He's got to balance it out. Now, in that game, Garoppolo finished with 230. He had a touchdown and INT. His passer rating was 90.2, but once again, because of the INT. So my whole deal is I would get some reps with Garoppolo and his receivers, and these guys need to get on the same page and, throw the ball downfield. I still think you should have a balance. You can run the football, that's fine. But I'm saying have a balance.
I mean, I think there was a good balance. I mean, this is the game plan. 40 rushes a game. They had 39 rushes.
Hey, but how many passes would they have?
26.
See, that's 26. Not balanced. That's not balanced.
They want to be a run heavy team. That's what look at what they did is they chewed up clock. They dominate. I mean, the score doesn't really do it justice because they dominate when they wanted to, they ran clock and there was nothing Minnesota was going to do. Yeah. They did it in the first half. They did it in the second half.
Okay.
But that's all predicated on being an elite run team. What's wrong with being an elite run team? Baltimore won some championships being a run heavy team and not being a passing team. I mean, granted, they had one of the greatest defenses ever, but they weren't throwing the ball all over the field. I mean, this this game plan can work, and it's showing that it can work the last 3 games. And look what you're up against next. You got Seattle at Seattle. You got the Bengals, which you don't know what Cincinnati you're going to get, but that's going to be a tough game.
Well, Cincinnati's definitely going to be a tough game because their defense it plays better than what's on paper.
Yeah, we are gonna find out. I mean, if the Vikings wasn't enough, like this game plan can work. All right. If the Rams game wasn't enough, if the Jaguars game wasn't enough, those are the last 3 games. If those weren't enough, you have the Seahawks. You're gonna sit Debo. Let's see what happens. And then we were really gonna be tested going into this home stretch when you play the Bengals, the Falcons, and the Titans.
The Falcons game is not really a test. Tennessee's a real test.
Tennessee is a real test. The Bengals are a real test. The Falcons they could show up and win.
Well, no, I don't believe that. I believe the Falcons. That's a team that the Niners should be. Okay, they should be. Well, this is the thing. You look at their defense; they're not that strong. Okay, they have what is it? I think they're like 28th in the league. In sacks. Okay, they don't cover the pass well. I mean, you can go in there, with this game now that Kyle's using, and you can get a W out of that. My biggest issue also is coming up in these next couple of weeks. We all know Debo's out. Drake Kinlaw's day to day. I'm trying to remember who else is injured. Oh, Fred Warner.
Warner and Debo 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah. So my whole deal is you got to also make decisions that's going to help your team stay healthy too. Because if they're not on the field, they're not producing. So this is the reason why I say having Debo run the football, I just don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad we had success with it. I really do. It's just I got a feeling this is going to come back to bite us if we continue. Okay, I feel like you need to put him where he needs to go. Have him run routes and catch the football.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be great. But you want to get the ball in his hands, whatever means necessary. Like if he's that kind of player, like he's that dynamic when the ball is in his hands, you got to get the ball in his hands. You're going to have to do it by these little screens, which maybe they need to run more of those. Some of those screens out to Debo.
You know what you could even do? You could even, because he has the ability to run and catch the football. I don't know why Shannon hasn't send him in the flat to catch the football. Why haven't you done that? I mean, this is a play that is proven.
I'll tell you why. Because Debo is best when he is full, has a full head of steam. That's why he's good after the catch, right? He's up to speed. He makes the catch. And then there's this just another gear and this just determination, and he hits the hole. And that's kind of the same thing he's doing as a running back. He's getting ahead of steam. He's finding that hole and he's gone.
Okay. But I'm saying you talk about Shanahan creating, you talk about, using Debo in ways that, you can get him the ball. I think that's something the defense will not be ready for. If you send him out in the flat and he catches it in the flat and then it takes off, they would just be like, what? I don't think they would be ready for that. And you know why? Because he hasn't done it all season.
Well, and you're going to have a linebacker on you too, which is going to be really helpful in Debo's case because he'll eat those dudes up.
Yeah. So fourth quarter is about to begin. Looks like Seattle might win this.
They're down. Seattle's losing 17-9. They have not good offensively at all. They've just been out of sync. Russell Wilson just does not really look like himself since he's come back from that finger injury. And Washington still has something to play for. Well,
it's funny because I just got a text from Yahoo Sports. They made it seem like there was going to be a fantastic finish, and Russell Wilson and Taylor Heineke were probably going to.
Well, it is. I mean, they're within striking distance. I mean, he scores a touchdown here on this drive. It's a tie ball game, right? So, yeah. I mean, Seattle needs this win. The 3-7 against 4-6.
No, of the two teams, Seattle is the team who needs to win. They need to just to be able to stay alive in the NFC West. They need to win. Yeah. So, but I will say this much. I guess I can't even think. I guess Max Scherzer. I guess he signed. Yeah, he signed with the Mets.
He went to the Mets. Kevin Gosman. I think he went to the Rangers. I think
Rangers,
Texas. So we're gonna be in the market for some pitching. And I would like to see Farhan make some. I from what I've known of Farhan, it doesn't seem that he makes moves at the beginning of opening season. You know what I mean, for signings. He looks like he sits back and then he goes after his guys afterwards. So I know he's going to make some moves. The rumblings out. They're looking at pitching. They're going to bolster up their pitching staff.
Yeah, but what right now? What's out there?
Well, I mean, you're not going to pay Scherzer money, right? So I mean, to me, that one's gone. Like Gosman, I thought they would maybe make a run at him, but from what it looked like, Texas is offering him. It's
Well, they offered him more. They basically they wanted to give him, I think it was 110 mil, and Texas came in like 130 something, I think.
Right. So what are you going to do there?
Yeah, I think the real question is whether or not they can keep Chris Bryant.
Or do they want to keep Chris Bryant? You're right. That to me, that's what I'm interested in, because you're losing Buster Posey.
Right.
So you need to replace that bat, right?
Well, this is the other thing. You got to see the CBA is about to go down, and he has said, Brian has said that he's not signing anything because there could still be a work stoppage. So, right. I mean, obviously they got to get that done. MLB's got to get that done before Scherzer says he'll do anything. But anyway, we got to.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I mean, it just looks like the Giants right now, they're signing the players that are in-house in their team. Chris Bryant, kind of is and isn't one of them. I'm sure, they'll work on that. If they don't, they got to make a run at someone. But it was nice seeing Belt get rewarded. A couple of the pitchers, Wood and DeSclafani, getting some money and getting to come back. So I just want to see what else they put together. So we'll see.
Yeah. So you think they're gonna let Cueto go?
I would.
Yeah. He's kind of up in age now, and
well, he's never gonna. He's one of those pitchers. He's not gonna blow you away with his velocity. So what he's using is deception, and once you kind of lose some of that deception, you're pretty easy to hit. It doesn't matter how many different variations you put behind the deception of the pitches you're throwing, right?
Right.
So I love him. I think he's a great guy. Health, I think, was the biggest issue. So I think if they do give him a contract, maybe a 1 or 2 year thing, but I don't know. I don't know what he's looking to get.
Okay. So one last thing on a sour note. There was a doctor to the Golden State Warriors, and he's also a doctor to Oakland A's. Elliot Schultz passed away recently. Longtime Warriors fan, since the 70s. Love Steph Curry, love the new look Warriors. But apparently he was, just a stand-up guy. Really extended himself when it came to, keeping the Warriors healthy, and also the A's, because he was working for them for a little while. But yeah, been in the Bay Area for a long time. Elliot Schultz, and condolences to his family. With that, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye because we're over almost 5 minutes now.
That's right. That's how we do it.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt, none the wiser wise. This is GameFACE, Bay Area Sports Magnified.